Hello, my children. I am Torquil from Stars. You are live in limbo.
Put your hands up if you know you're going. Put your hands up if you know you're going.
Hey guys, this is Mehek from Live in Limbo, and I'm backstage at the Phoenix Concert Theater in Toronto with Torq from Stars. How's it going?
Great. How are you, Mehek?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm really excited to be sitting here with you because...
I am excited to be sitting here with you.
Oh my gosh.
You have great glasses.
Oh, I thank you.
Check these glasses out. I have to show people the glasses. That is a sweet frame.
Why, thank you. I like your frames.
Yeah, well, frames are important to us four eyes people.
It's true.
Yeah.
How bad is your eyesight?
It's bad enough so that I can't really enjoy a movie without them.
Okay.
But it's not so bad that I can't drive to the 7-Eleven to get a Slurpee.
Okay. So we might be able to switch up our frames later if you want to try mine and I'll try yours.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Sounds
Stick
good.
around for the exciting conclusion of our interview.
But I genuinely am extremely excited to be here because Stars was my entry point into independent music in Canada.
Really?
Yes, and I'm going to be one of those dorks who will tell you my story with Stars.
Please do.
I was 13 years old.
Already I'm freaking out.
Right?
Because that means I'm 150.
But it's been 10 years.
It's been a while.
I'm no longer 13
You're no
years
longer,
old.
right.
And back, when I was a child, we had this special MTV channel, was one of those Christmas specials that we got. And the Ageless Beauty video came on. And I had never heard of any kind of music like that before. And it completely revolutionized my life.
Oh, that's so great.
And it was an entry point into Canadian music, into the independent scene, allowed me to break out of the hip hop that my brother constantly forced me to listen to.
Not that there's anything wrong with
Nothing
hip-hop.
at all. I'm a huge hip hop fan. But I slowly became a Canadian music fan because of you guys.
That's so nice to hear.
How often do you hear stories like that of the impact that your band has had?
You know what? Quite often.
Yeah.
And especially lately, I feel like we've sort of crossed some invisible barrier where I think that a lot of people who were growing up with us have now grown up with us, and they're looking back on their lives a little bit, and on their early youths. They're still young, but they're looking back on their early youths, and I remember that time in your early to mid-20s when you do feel like things are changing. You're a quarter century old and things are getting a little different, and you can have some perspective on who you were. And I can't tell you how much it means to us, because that's why we made the music the way we made it. We wanted to be a band that stuck around in people's lives, and we wanted to play the part that pop music always played for us, which was that it was a series of signposts that let you identify your past.
Yeah.
And it was like a code to who you were. And so the fact that we made these records and that they've become that in people's lives, and that they've stuck around with us and kept listening to us and kept growing older with us and changing with us. I mean, it sounds really, really hokey, and you see people in bands say this, but I cannot tell you how sincerely I mean that. It's like every single day I think to myself, I can't believe we did this, and I can't believe how much I love doing this,
And it's such a perfect point right now, because today we're starting off a little celebration here in Toronto.
A little celebration, eh?
A little one.
Si.
Petit peu.
Yeah.
For Set Yourself on Fire.
Yeah.
10-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think that
It
it's been a
is.
decade.
It really, really is wild. That is wild.
What prompted you guys to say, okay, I know you had the show at Osheaga.
Yeah.
So what prompted you to say, okay, this Christmas we're going to celebrate together?
Well, the Osheaga thing was like a last minute thing. A couple of people dropped out of Osheaga, and we weren't going to play because we had played just recently anyway. And, you want to give the crowds a different lineup. But people dropped out, and so Osheaga got in touch with us very kindly and offered the slot, and we wanted to make it special. So we asked a bunch of friends up, and people we knew, and people who we'd been influenced by, people like, Iron and Wine and Colin from the Decemberists and a bunch of people. And And that was awesome, but it was super also on the cuff, off the cuff, and very on the fly, and very improvised, and a little hair raising. And we had talked a lot about touring Set Yourself on Fire, because this is sort of in an internet age, I think people have a desire to see records in their totality. Interestingly, you know, like that's become a new thing in the game, is to play your records in totality, which I find interesting considering how everyone's consuming music, which is in little bits now. So it's weird, but it's cool. And we were talking about touring it, but ultimately we decided that we didn't want to go that deeply into the past. You know, we didn't want to spend a month in our past.
Okay.
Like you have the one night where you get to see that part of your past. But for us, if we'd gone out there for a month or 2 months, I think we would have started to feel bored by it, you know, and sort of have a negative attitude towards Set Yourself on Fire, because we're in the present, obviously, right? Like we're writing a new record, and we're working, and we're raising kids, and we're doing all these things. So it seemed like the perfect compromise was to come to Toronto, which is the most supportive city to us in the world. There's no other city that supports us like Toronto supports us. We all grew up here. I went to school at Jarvis around the corner from this club. Amy grew up in Cabbagetown. So it means a lot to us to come and play this record in this city. And we felt like Toronto deserved it, because Toronto's been there for us, you know?
And you're not doing it just once, not just twice, but 3 times right before the holidays.
That's
How
right.
incredible is it to see that response from fans and all of them wanting to come out?
It is unbelievable, considering that we just played 3 nights at the Danforth Music Hall in February, and then a couple of festivals. There was 12,000 people out for us in Nathan Phillips Square this summer. That's what I mean. It's like Toronto's just unbelievable to us. You know, it's incredible. It's an incredible supporter of culture, this town. I have a lot of issues with Toronto. Don't even get me started. But there's one thing you can't say about Toronto, and that's that they don't support art. They do. The people of Toronto love art. They love music, and they come out and they support it, and it means everything to us.
And you guys are working with 2 local charities, I believe, for these events. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, Parkdale Legal is a service that provides legal support, legal advice, and help to people who can't afford legal advice and help. You know, a lot of people who are renters, a lot of people who are homeless, a lot of people who have addiction issues and are maybe struggling to rebuild their lives. They need a lot of legal advice, and this is an incredible organization that gives them that advice. So we're really, really happy to be working with them. And we're also working with the North Harvest Food Bank. And, you know, I think that over the years, food banks have been very troublesome for me, because I think in a way food banks, they don't allow the government to continue not to deal with it, but they make it okay for politicians to ignore it. Having said that, people have to eat.
Yes.
And I think, you know, I've done my research now, and I've found out really that people who work at food banks and the people who run food banks, they're not just there to provide food. They are hunger activists, and they are involved in every aspect of trying to change society. And there's not a food bank in the city that doesn't wish it could go out of business, you know, and isn't working incredibly hard to make sure that happens. So, you know, it's such a time of year when everyone's spending. There's so much excess. We have so much money. You know, if you know of a food bank in your community, go give some food to it. It means everything to people.
That's incredible. It's so great. You know, on one hand, you guys are already giving back to this huge arts community who are so excited to celebrate the anniversary, and then also help people who are in need in the process
season,
of that.
Man.
Yeah.
It's the season.
That's incredible.
To be jolly and generous.
Fa la 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 la.
La 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 la.
That's my singing
It's
contribution.
your Nardwar tribute. God bless you, Nardwar.
Yes,
We're
hope
thinking
he's
of
doing
you, buddy.
well.
I love you.
Maybe I can make that happen on the next Stars record.
That would be good. Yeah. Let's see what happens. If it's a Christmas album, you could do it.
Could it be? Is
Yeah.
there what's the possibility?
I can't say.
Okay. Fair enough. In this sort of reminiscent period, looking back at Set Yourself on Fire, what was, you know, the impact of that whole production process for that album, and how did it, you know, impact your approaches to future albums after that?
I think we learned writing in the room together was important to us, like everybody in the room at the same time from the moment the thing is thought of until the moment it's finished.
Yeah.
And now there are times when we come and go to get sandwiches and stuff, but the songs are ours. No one in this band is the leader of this band. And I think on Set Yourself on Fire, that's where the band, because me and Chris had made night songs alone pretty much, except with Jimmy and Emily from Metric, who they weren't even Metric yet. So we'd been living together and they helped us out on that. And then Heart, there was after we'd met Amy and Evan. And then Set Yourself on Fire was when Patty joined. So by Set Yourself on Fire, that was the band. That was sort of the first Stars album in a way, because it was the band that continued on for the next 10 years. So, you know, it was a really like massive moment for us in terms of just understanding the potential of all of us instead of just a group of people who'd met and liked each other and were playing music together.
It brought you guys together and sort of helped define you.
Yeah, it
as a
defined
band.
that we were a 5-person band,
Yeah.
you know, and now 6-person with Chris McCarran, who's joined us. It's like when people come in and they are obviously changing your life, you have to let them in.
Yeah.
Even if that means having even less money than you had before.
That's okay.
There's a lot of people to pay in this band. But, you know, if we didn't have all those people, then we probably wouldn't be making any money. So it's a catch-22.
When you look at the album and, you know, when you go out on tour, you're not performing every single song on there. So what are you most looking forward to performing over the next couple nights?
From Set Yourself on Fire, I really like performing He Lied About Death.
Okay.
Because I'm not a very nice person and I like expressing anger. I'm going to be completely honest with you. And I love playing Celebration Guns is really nice to play. It's the stuff like we don't usually play that's really fun to play. The Big Fight is really fun to play.
Yeah.
The stuff that's more me and Amy kind of singing to each other. The bigger songs on the record have continued throughout our career anyway. We've been playing, you know, Reunion or Set Yourself on Fire or Ex-Lover is Dead. I mean, Ex-Lover is Dead is always a great song to play because it's bigger than the band. It's not even our song anymore. You know, like we let the audience sing it. It's your song. It's like, and I know that song has transcended the band. In other words, there's a lot of people who have that song on their iPod and they don't even know who Stars are.
Yeah.
And I always kind of wanted a song like that. So it's a great feeling to have a song that transcends your own personality.
During the tour that you guys just got off of, did you find any fans who were specifically requesting songs from Set Yourself on Fire, or they were a little bit jealous of Toronto?
You know what's weird that's going on in the States, especially I find, is we play a lot of stuff off Set Yourself on Fire, and I get the feeling people don't really know it.
Really?
And the stuff that they're really freaking out about, and the stuff that we get a lot of requests for is stuff off the North and stuff off the Five Ghosts and stuff off the last record. It's and bed like I feel like there's a younger crowd sort of coming in. We still see a lot of 16, 17-year-old kids out there, you know? So we're not a difficult band in the sense that we play songs we think the audience wants to hear, you know? Like, we've paid your money. I want to give you a great night. I don't want it to be about me. It's not about me. I enjoy playing the show, but what makes it fun is that you're having fun.
Yeah.
If you're not having fun, I don't, you know, I can play a bunch of wanky stuff, but it's not going to be fun to do that. I'm not Bob Dylan. I care about my audience.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Also, I'm not a genius. That's the other difference between us, but at least I'm a nice guy.
I don't know. I think some people might argue against that point because I would say in the musical scheme, you guys have done some pretty ingenious
Well, it
stuff.
all turns into semantics, right? It's like, what is a genius? I think geniuses are people like Bob Dylan who are probably not very nice people, but and kind of out of their minds. But, you know, just take one listen to Blood on the Tracks and you'll know the guy is pretty incredible.
I have to admit, I haven't listened to much Bob Dylan in my life.
Check out Blood on the Tracks.
Sounds good.
Amazing.
That'll be
amazing
my
record.
starting point.
That's a good in.
Perfect.
Yeah.
When we, when we look at this album and we think of how many lives it's impacted and its own legacy, and then looking at the Canadian scene today, do you see any albums or artists who have similarly created such an impact in their own creative works?
I see dozens and dozens and dozens. I mean, The band we're playing with tonight, Soul, made my favorite record of the year by far. I'm
Fantastic
completely
band.
obsessed with that record.
Yeah.
We went on tour with them. They're the best dudes ever. I love them all so much. I'm kind of in love with them all, actually. I called my wife the other day and I was like, they make me feel like I'm 16 years old again. Like, this was the band I wanted to be in. They are amazing. So, but it just, then you could go on and on and on. I mean, I think that the legacy of CanCon rules and Factor, people are going to look back, all those people who said we shouldn't be subsidizing art, you shouldn't subsidize music, oh, they're making us play all this crappy Canadian music on the radio. Look at our scene. We have the 3 biggest pop stars in the world.
Yeah.
We have the 3 biggest indie bands, you know, like at least 2 of the 3 biggest indie bands in the world, New Pornos and Arcade Fire. There's Metric, there's us, and then there's Grimes, there's Junior Boys, there's Tim Hecker. In every single area of music, we have superstar, amazing, life-changing musicians. We have incredible hip-hop. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And that is because people starting out were able to apply for a grant and get some support and not have to work 14 hours a day at McDonald's and not have to give up. And, you know, I'm so glad that Stephen Harper is not Prime Minister anymore. And I'm really hopeful that the Liberal government is going to double down and reinvest in art. They've said they will, and I believe them. And I think it's going to pay off. I think there's going to be big dividends from that.
I hope so. I know funding in the arts is such a critical thing, and I think it's a resurrected movement that's been going on over the past couple of years.
And I think Justin Trudeau understands that. I think he's a big lover of art. I know his wife's a big lover of art, and I've been really impressed with him so far. That is like literally the first time in history I've ever said something good about a politician in public.
Well, I was going to ask, you know, after Imagine October 20th, it's happened.
Yeah.
We realized it.
Yeah.
And even though it is a little
there's
bit...
Matt Hart. He's in the Russian Futurist. That's one of the greatest bands ever. His record is life-changing. It just goes on and on and on.
We're going to talk afterwards.
That guy's a genius.
With Imagine October 20th, you know, it's happened and it was realized. And even though it's still a little bit early, or fairly early, I would say, into Prime Minister Trudeau's term, what are your thoughts so far on how he's doing?
I'm super impressed. I have to admit, I am super impressed. He said he was going to take the jets out of Syria. He took the jets out of Syria. He said he was going to bring refugees in. He brought refugees in. I think he's been focused. I think he's been a man of his word. And I think his cabinet appointments were incredible. I think his speech about the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and his commitment to honoring the recommendations of that commission, his commitment to a missing and murdered Indigenous women inquiry, those are big deals. That's a big, big deal.
Yeah.
And I'm really impressed. And I really hope that he doesn't get distracted by the media and by the corporatocracy that governs the world right now, you know? Because once you start doing the right thing, I can guarantee you that capitalist corporations are going to want you to stop doing it because it doesn't help them make money. And he's going to have to face down the oil industry and a lot of other people who are going to try and make him go off course. And you know, I have a lot of hope right now. I really feel a lot better about where this country's at than it was 3 months ago, for sure.
I think a lot of people are sharing that sentiment as well.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you and the band are recording a new album right now.
Yeah.
What is, you know, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, I mean, we just got started. We just spent like a week together writing, jamming. We're trying a new way of throwing it at the wall. We're trying to produce more and then pick through all of it at the end instead of spending lots of time on one song after another. But we don't even know who we're going to work with. We don't know where. It's really in the birth stages. But you know, it's going to be I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of My Bloody Valentine and like Ride and the Jesus and Mary Chain and stuff. I think every time we start a Stars record, we're like, let's make a noise record. And by the end of it, it sounds like Barry Manilow. So I don't know.
Maybe you should take Set Yourself on Fire and warp it into a noise record.
I'll let somebody else do this. Isn't there someone with a garage band and a YouTube account who can do that for me?
It's me.
Okay, you go for it.
Amazing. Do you have any words for the rest of your viewers and fans out there who cannot be here in Toronto to celebrate this momentous occasion?
Thank you. Love you. Miss you.
Thanks so much for speaking with us today.
Thanks so much.
Best of luck tonight. So excited. Stars is recording a new album, Set Yourself on Fire. If you haven't listened to it yet, guys, what are you doing? You got to listen to it. It's amazing.
If you haven't listened to it yet, just forget it. Move on with your lives and, get hip.
Take care.